Hello, guys, and welcome to my Atlanta Falcons 7 round mock draft. This one will be interesting because I think the Falcons are one of those teams that's kind of like, it looks kind of set what they would do in round one, but it's also kind of one of those nuts things that we still don't know whether they're actually going to keep Kirk Cousins. I think it was a bluff what they said about, they could keep him as a backup. I mean, it seems kind of ridiculous, and you know that Cousins, he wants to start, but it's like, is he going to be able to beat out Penix? And it's like, it's one of those that's like, if you're ready to move on with Penix, I just don't think Kirk has much of a shot there. I'm not going to talk too much about it, though. We'll look at their depth chart, of course. Some say they need a wide receiver. I think Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, and Drake London are honestly fine. Mooney was pretty clutch last year in certain situations where he just would leak deep or he would make a big reception for first down, and it's like it wasn't a crazy productive year. But I liked what Darnell Mooney did. Clearly, I think the Bears, would probably have if you ask them, they probably regret letting him walk, in free agency. Drake London, still haven't seen the potential, still very young. I just think he hasn't had a solid QB play, but perhaps it's the offensive system, because it's like everyone was like, Desmond Ritter's gone. Finally, we have Kirk Cousins, who's not going to be like him. And then Kirk Cousins sucks the second half of the year, for many, many games, ultimately costing them a playoff spot. Their line, obviously one of the best. Jake Matthews, Bergeron. They did move on from, why am I forgetting his name? From their star center, Drew Dahlman. Chris Lindstrom's a beast. Caleb McGarry. Their whole line is pretty good, which was one of the perspectives that I lent, that I was like, how important was the center really? Sure, he has to orchestrate the line and do that sort of thing, but these are all top tier offensive linemen. I mean, Jake Matthews, obviously long career, and they've kept him for however many years, type of thing. And then it's like, you look at, Kyle Pitts. There was rumors that he could have potentially been, traded or dealt, I guess, because of his lack of production and his pay, but his pay isn't that much. And then obviously Michael Penix, I fully expect him to be pretty solid this year. I think he came in and he did well, for someone coming off the line. Their running back room, one of the best in the league. Algier Robinson, deep halfback class, but I doubt they draft one. Now for the defense. You bring in Morgan Fox from the Chargers, hardly an edge that's going to get pressure. You get rid of Grady Jarrett, obviously the stalwart, a long-time cornerstone, and it's like, you look here and it's like, what do you have? Defensive interior is definitely something I look at. Honestly, the whole D line. And then it's like, they pick up Leonard Floyd, who's been a journeyman pass rusher. He will make an impact, but he cannot be your standalone guy. He cannot be. Arnold, a biggity. I don't know. I just don't see it with this line, if I'm being honest, type of thing. And then we move, to the inside linebackers. You have Troy Anderson and Caden Ellis. I'm going to be real. I don't really know either of these guys. And then we move to the corners. Mike Hughes, all right. Jesse Bates, obviously, the defense was rough last year. And it's like, I don't think it was Jesse Bates' fault. I think the lack of pass rush and scheme was kind of bad. Jordan Fuller, I think is fine, but you could go safety. Not to replace Bates, obviously. Obviously, AJ Terrell, still very, very good, very, very young. Your lockdown corner, your guy who matches up very good. Clark Phillips. And then it's like just a couple of guys to add as potential pieces. So it's like the positions that need for this team that I'm looking at is I'm looking for edge, interior D-line, corner, a safety, a middle linebacker. It just seems to me like this defense really underperformed last year, and it was rough. Their offense, to me, I just think with the right system, and if you actually have a guy who can distribute the ball well, I think that, you might add a wide receiver, but I guess I haven't even looked at how many picks these guys have. How many do they have? They don't have, oh my goodness. This is going to be quick. So it's like we have round 1, 2, this is 4, I'm pretty sure. And then it's like late round draft picks. So it's like if I was the Falcons, it's like I would be looking to trade Kirk just for the sole purpose of like, oh, maybe you can add a third to some QB needy team that isn't in the position to get a QB. But who knows? Maybe you don't even get a third for him anymore. Maybe he's like a 4th or a 5th. But honestly, any sort of pick value in this draft, and I think you get some value because there's quite a lot. But we're going to start the draft, and, we'll really, really think about, these picks. So looking at who's available, Malachi Starks, one guy, I guess, that I kind of, and this is wild. Shamar Stewart went this high. What kind of picks do we have beforehand? Mason Graham here. Shedeur Sanders, 2 QBs first. Membu, Hunter, Will Campbell, Shamar Stewart there. That is kind of wild, to be honest with you. But, and then Barron and McMillan. So kind of, it's one of those things that I think for the Falcons, and if you were to go wide receiver, you may actually go one in the first round if T-Mac drops to you. Now, do I think any of these other guys are a guy, you grab and you think, oh yeah, this is going to replace a dude on my team? I mean, Matthew Golden looks like he's really good, as much as I would hate, for a guy like this to go to the Falcons. I'm being real. It's kind of like, he's a good player and he could do, really well. Luther Burden, that electric kind of player, that short distance player. But it's like, I just don't see you going any of these. Now, for edge, we do have Green, Pierce, and then Izaraku. For interior, we do have Kenneth Grant, which I think, would be intriguing type of thing. Looking at who's available here, I mean, there's just obviously first round. I'm going to be real. I think it might be a bold take to make, but I honestly think that going Jalen Walker here to satisfy like a multi-plethora of needs where he can do a number of things, would be really, really, really good for this team. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to draft Jalen Walker right here, who can rush, play linebacker, and that sort of thing. Now we get to the second round. Looking at now, obviously most of the wide receivers we saw are off the board type of thing. I honestly think that it's like the next pick, we have 118. So likely a lot of these guys, not available. But it's like there are a few that I like, kind of in the, there might be a little bit of a reach in that range, but maybe you could trade down depending on who you like or where you think guys are going to go. But we've tackled that. I do think, you could go Xavier Watts right here. I really don't mind it. It doesn't say that they need, that they need safety here. Maybe it isn't their biggest pressing concern. I'm actually kind of leaning now toward Princely. I think Princely going to this spot and dropping essentially a couple from his rank, not really a huge drop, would be fire. I would grab Princely, with this pick if he were available. Now we go way the heck down. I am going to look at wide receiver again, see who's available. Torrey Horton available. He's the next talented. This is what I said, though, is that a lot of these guys are in the 130 to 60 rank that you would kind of think of. So it's like, a potentially trade back sort of instance type of thing. I think that Mooney and Ray are fine. Torrey Horton's obviously kind of a more taller guy, but a lighter guy. So, and that sort of thing. I am a huge fan of Tesla. I think Tesla, obviously, big, great size, but it's a little early to grab a dude like this, especially when I think, that sort of thing. But, what's another position? We do need defensive interior. I'll look at Peebles right here. I don't think we've looked at this sort of guy. Not a great run defense, but not terrible, but a good pass rush win rate. This guy actually does look like the kind of guy that maybe they grab, and he's a little bit lighter. You say defensive interior, but he could obviously play, one of the ends and go up against a guard, and be a quick-witted sort of guy. We're actually going to go Peebles right here. I think Peebles looks like a good match for defensive interior here. Now we move on, and we only have 2 picks remaining at the very end, and we obviously haven't drafted. Goodness, yeah, we've tripled down on the defense, and because I really do think it needs help with this team, and we're going to look at some wide receivers. Dyke right here. Sorry for the language. We got 6'1", 195. Contested is pretty good for a guy who's not that big. Had good production on, was targeted almost like that's like 50%, nearly 50% of the downs this guy, they were going to him. And 2.3 is, a pretty good number, I guess, type of thing. And it's like drop rate a little bit kind of where you don't want it type of thing, but it's like this guy gives a size that they don't really have on the team. I think that, Dyke here kind of makes, a good amount of sense. And heck, we may even double down on wide receiver later. Let me look actually and see who is still available. We have Dyke. Who else do we really have? Do we have anybody else that, I'm big on Rock Taylor. I think he's going to be a hidden gem from some team, here. Who else do we have? I don't know really anything about this guy. Rousseau per run, obviously. Wow, he had a high target rate as well. A lot of catches here, but he kind of fits the mold of the same kind of thing that you already have. Maybe this guy is like a workhouse Chisholm here, but I'm kind of thinking Dyke. I think that Dyke, that contested catch rate and the amount he was targeted, he's used to being kind of a workhorse, type of thing, and he gives you that, I don't know, that medium kind of height, that quicker, shiftier thing where he can get target a lot, and he has wide end slot, so he can play from anywhere. I wish, they told us from where, but we're going to draft Dyke. I think Dyke looks like a player that, hey, maybe you go there. Now looking at who we've drafted, we've only drafted 1 wide receiver. It says center is a need. This would be a spot really for center. But I'm actually going to go at 242. I'm actually going to go and I'm going to draft another linebacker. I think linebacker is a very major need. And I think Jalen Walker is a guy that's a late round pick. That would be a solid late round pick. They didn't like this in round 1. Yeah, Mike Green is the most anticipated draft pick for the Falcons. I just think the thing about Mike Green, to me, you guys, is that he didn't play against premier talent. And Mike Green to me, he had he wasn't very good until last year, but it was still subpar talent, obviously. So it's like is he a little bit of a bait pick in the first round? You know, they say he's kind of the safer pick. He does have good size. He has, you know, what you want at that position, but it's like he looks to me like he could be somewhat of a bait pick. That's just kind of nothing against him or his game, but I think that Mike Green's kind of a bait pick, and that has been it has been the kind of undisputed thing that they say the Falcons do. But Jalen Walker is just, I feel like he's kind of one of those anomalies. He could also be a boomer bust prospect, but I feel like him doing a lot, if he's able to find his niche in the NFL, you know, and that sort of thing, this guy could be, you know, a cornerstone type of thing, you know, and it's like, it's not like, I mean, I feel like you would kind of know what you're getting out of Mike Green. That's just my opinion, but I honestly think that this draft would be very good. I would like to see the Falcons get more picks, because 5, it's the fewest that of any of the drafts that I've done so far. But if you guys like this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you like, didn't like. You know, I really don't mind any undue criticism. You know, if you think that this would be a stupid move to get Jalen Walker, I just think that he's multiversited. And then it's like, and you get Jalen Walker, and oh, I didn't even notice this. Jalen Walker squared. Kind of nuts. That would make practice fun a bit. No, they'd have to call one like Jaywalk would be a cool nickname. I'd take that, or something. But like this would be really funny. You know, I didn't even really think about this when I was doing it. I was like, oh yeah, Jalen Walker to start, Jalen Walker to finish. But otherwise, let me know what you guys think. And we'll see you in the other 7-round draft video that I'll be doing, and I'll be putting out later today. But thank you all for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.